The fall of Cadia is one of the most significant and impactful events in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, marking a turning point in the Imperium's eternal struggle against the forces of chaos. It occurred during the 13th Black Crusade, led by Abaddon the Despoiler, a Warmaster of Chaos and the greatest champion of the Chaos gods. Here's a breakdown of the key elements and significance of the fall of Cadia. What is Cadia? Cadia was a strategically vital planet located near the Eye of Terror, the massive warp rift that is the heart of chaos in the galaxy. For 10,000 years, it served as the Imperium's primary defense against the forces of chaos that constantly tried to break out of the Eye of Terror. The Cadian Gate was a heavily fortified system, and Cadia itself became synonymous with staunch defense, discipline, and relentless vigilance. Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade. Abaddon, leader of the Black Legion and heir to Horus, had launched 12 Black Crusades over the millennia, each designed to further weaken the Imperium. The 13th Black Crusade, however, was his most devastating. It wasn't just another raid, it was a full-scale invasion of real space, aimed at achieving total dominance and destruction of the Imperium's most fortified defense line, Cadia. The invasion of Cadia. During the 13th Black Crusade, Abaddon amassed a colossal army of Chaos Space Marines, demons, Traitor Guard, and other dark forces. He launched his assault on Cadia with a specific goal: to destroy the planet and open a wider path for the forces of chaos to pour into the galaxy. One of Abaddon's key weapons was the Blackstone Fortresses, ancient and incredibly powerful space stations. He used these fortresses to unleash devastating power on Cadia, with the intent of shattering the planet's defenses and breaking the will of the Cadians. The forces of the Imperium, led by Lord Castellan Ursarkar E. Creed, fought valiantly against the Chaos Hordes. One of the most legendary figures during this battle was Saint Celestine, a living saint of the Adepta Sororitas, who led Imperial forces in a desperate counterattack against the forces of Abaddon. Her presence was a beacon of hope, and her resurrection powers kept the Imperial defenders fighting longer than anyone expected. However, even with her intervention and the support of other Imperial forces, including the Adeptus Mechanicus, Space Marines, and Titan legions, the defense of Cadia was on the verge of collapse. The destruction of the Cadian pylons. A major factor in Cadia's defense was the presence of ancient, mysterious structures known as the Cadian pylons. These pylons had the ability to suppress the warp, keeping the Eye of Terror from expanding further into real space. Abaddon knew this, and his ultimate plan was to destroy them, destabilizing the region and plunging the galaxy into greater chaos. Eventually, using the Blackstone Fortresses and a devastating attack, Abaddon succeeded in weakening the planet's crust. As Cadia cracked under the pressure of the attacks, the Cadian pylons failed, and the Eye of Terror expanded, engulfing the planet in warp energy. Cadia's last stand. As the planet began to break apart, Lord Castellan Creed ordered a last-ditch defense, rallying the remaining forces of the Imperium to fight to the bitter end. His famous quote, "Cadia stands," became a rallying cry for the defenders. Despite overwhelming odds and the planet's physical destruction, the Cadians refused to yield. However, the situation became impossible to hold. Saint Celestine, along with some surviving Imperial forces, managed to evacuate key leaders, including Creed, from the dying world, but Cadia itself was lost. Abaddon's forces had succeeded in breaking the backbone of the Imperium's defense at the Cadian Gate. The aftermath and the Great Rift. The fall of Cadia had galaxy-wide repercussions. With Cadia destroyed, the Cadian Gate no longer held back the forces of chaos. As a result, the Great Rift, a massive tear in reality, spread across the galaxy, splitting it in two. This warp tear, known as the Cicatrix Maledictum, plunged half of the Imperium into darkness and isolation, as the warp storms cut off many star systems from Terra and each other. The fall of Cadia also marked a change in the Imperium's fortunes. The Indomitus Crusade, led by the newly resurrected Robut Guilliman, was launched to reclaim lost territories and reunite the Imperium, but the galaxy was forever altered. Chaos had gained a major foothold, and the Imperium was now fighting a desperate war on all fronts. Significance in the lore. End of an era. Cadia's fall represents the end of an era where the Imperium could reliably defend itself from the chaos incursions pouring out of the Eye of Terror. Its destruction is symbolic of the Imperium's vulnerability, expansion of chaos. With the Cadian Gate broken, the forces of chaos can more easily invade real space. The Great Rift tore the galaxy apart, and this era in the lore is often referred to as the Dark Imperium, a new beginning. The fall of Cadia sets the stage for the new lore developments in Warhammer 40k, including the resurrection of Reboot Guilliman, the creation of Primaris Space Marines, and the Indomitus Crusade. It's a dramatic shift in the timeline that fuels the future of the setting. Heroism and sacrifice. The defenders of Cadia, particularly Ursarkar Creed, are remembered as heroes who held the line against impossible odds. Cadia stands has become a legendary phrase representing the unbreakable will of humanity in the face of annihilation. In short, the fall of Cadia is a major event that reshaped the galaxy and plunged it into an even darker and more dangerous era, setting the tone for the current Warhammer 40k narrative.